Hey guys, Gwinnett here, bringing you my match this week from the Magic Gathering Strat League number 3. This is the Standard Pauper League. I lost game 1. I am playing against Mono Green Stompy, and I am running a blue-black control deck. I do choose to play first here. Important when playing against aggro to go ahead and take away that aggressive start by taking to play first, even though this deck really would be almost more of a play second kind of deck, but the tempo loss is so important, or would really be detrimental, so I go ahead and choose to play first here anyway. This is pretty marginal, but I do have the Disowned Ancestor to go ahead and block early, and hoping to be able to get some use out of these treasure cruises. So this is a pretty marginal keeper. My opponent did have to mulligan down to 6, which is definitely good for me. I do have this turn 1 Disowned Ancestor again, which is really helpful. And on the play, I'm much more likely to be able to pump up that first Outlast trigger, which is really nice. So I do draw into an Asphyxiate, which will be nice. I'm not going to be able to cast it right away unless I draw into a third Swamp. But it does let me go ahead and get that Disowned Ancestor pumped 1. So it's really, if you have the opportunity to do it, makes sense. You don't want to pump too much into this in case your opponent's able to remove it. But being able to do 1 Outlast trigger makes a big difference. A big difference between a 0-4 and a 1-5. So my opponent doesn't even attack here, and it's going to go ahead and get another Elvish Mystic out as well as a Swordwise Centaur. Back on my turn, I do draw into the second Swamp, and I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that Swordwise Centaur now, leaving him once again with 2 Mystics. Let's see what he wants to do here. He's going to go ahead and play out a Staunch-Hearted Warrior, and now I'm really hoping I can right here draw into some removal. So instead I find a Disowned Ancestor. I'm going to go ahead and pop that Evolving Wilds and grab another Swamp, drop another of these Disowned Ancestors, and pump this one up to a 2-6. My opponent here goes ahead and plays a Leaf Crown Dryad. Interesting enough, he plays it on his tapped Elvish Mystic. I'm not really sure why he did that. I would have thought he would have wanted to put it here. Maybe he wasn't planning on attacking anyway, but I thought that was an interesting... I don't know, maybe it was a misclick and he meant to put it on the Staunch-Hearted Warrior, which would really make a lot more sense. So not sure exactly what that was about, but that is in fact what he did. So I'll go ahead and block here and take a point of damage. So I do find a Pharika's Cure here, and obviously my play is just go ahead and get rid of that Staunch-Hearted Warrior as quickly as possible while he's tapped out. And go ahead and pump this guy up as well. Not too worried about taking the 3 damage, and he may not even attack anyway. So he's going to play out a second Staunch-Hearted Warrior, so he's definitely starting to put some pressure on me, but he's not attacking, which to me means I'm doing the right thing. And I find yet another Pharika's Cure. Now here's an interesting choice. Do I think he has removal? That's what I'm thinking about there while I tap and then hesitate, because I would hate to play the Pharika's Cure and then lose the ability to remove that Staunch-Hearted Warrior. So instead I just pass. I'm hoping to be able to use the Pharika's Cure in a more advantageous spot later. He doesn't attack, and so now I go ahead and use the Pharika's Cure to get rid of the Staunch-Hearted Warrior, see if he's got the pump spell for it. He does have the Ranger's Guile for it, which would have happened anyway, but better for it to happen on defense and on offense. So it'll drop to a 4-4, and I draw into a land. I do have enough now to go ahead and pop my first Treasure Cruise, which will be helpful. Let's take a look at what I draw into here. And I find more lands and a Benthic Giant, which is not real great for me. Fortunately, my guys are pretty decent at keeping his guys back. I have enough life that I decide not to go ahead and block either of the creatures at this point, wanting to preserve these Disowned Ancestors as long as I can. And my opponent here has a Hooting Mandrill, so now I'm really starting to get under quite a bit of pressure here. I do draw into a Voyage's End, which is a nice little piece of removal here. Be able to reset that Staunch-Hearted Warrior at the proper time. So he's just going to send in with the Sedge Scorpion here, which is great for me, managing to hold his guys back fairly well. And he has another Swordwise Centaur, as well as an Alpine Grizzly. So into turn here, I'm going to go ahead and bounce his Staunch-Hearted Warrior, and I find a Nimbus Naiad, which is pretty good for me. I definitely want to get that into play. So pop the Evolving Wilds, have plenty of land, hoping not to draw any more lands. Going to go ahead and get the Benthic Giant out here just to give me a nice big blocker and continue to try to hold his guys back. So attacks are getting more and more difficult for him, but he is able to get another Staunch-Hearted Warrior into play and hit me for 1 with that Sedge Scorpion. Back on my turn, find another land, which isn't great, but I will go ahead here and pop the Treasure Cruise once again, just hoping really to draw into some removal. And I do, in fact, find a Pharika's Cure. Go ahead, this time not even going to hesitate, even though he's got one card in hand, go ahead and get rid of that Stormcharred Warrior before he's able to pump it up. And pass the turn back. My opponent here has no attacks, which definitely means I'm holding the ground pretty well here. I'm going to go ahead and play out this Grey Merchant, give me a nice little 4-life swing, and go ahead and drop this Nimbus Naiad as well, and pass the turn back. So with this Aqueous form now, I'm going to be in much better shape to go ahead and probably attack with this Benthic Giant. I do go ahead while I'm just sitting here to go ahead and pump up this Outlast creature, and hoping my opponent's not able to punish me for that. He plays a second Alpine Grizzly. So we're definitely kind of at a lockdown here, but this Aqueous form is going to be exactly what I need to start breaking through. Basically now got him on a 4-turn clock, plus I get to keep scrying. Scry that island right to the bottom, certainly not something I want. And like I said, got him on a 3-turn clock now. And so he's trying to decide whether he's going to go and swing in with everything, knowing that I've got him on a 3-turn clock. That is in fact what he decides to do. I'm going to go ahead and block these Alpine Grizzlies with my 2 pumped up guys. I'm really just trying to preserve my creatures and see if he's got a trick. So here he gets to hit me for a total of 8. And depending on what he does, I am able to Voyage his End. So he's going to go ahead and pump up the Swordwise Centaur, which I'm just going to go ahead and bounce off the battlefield, and at that point he goes ahead and concedes. So I was able to get enough blockers down to slow down his aggression, and ended up with a win there. Opponent might have conceded a little bit early there, but probably had that one in the bag. So lost game 1. We are now tied 1-1, and I'll be back in a minute for game 3.